Welcome back. So, today we're jumping into this totally wild story. It's kind of like a fable, but also just pure internet chaos. And it's all about how one tiny little conflict can just explode. All right, so let's get into it. The first thing you see isn't even the story. It's these hilarious, super over-the-top disclaimers. It immediately sets this, chaotic and self-aware tone. It's basically telling you right from the get-go, hey, buckle up, this is going to be weird. So the story has this narrator who's literally just a character named Me, and he's constantly breaking the fourth wall, going on these rants about copyright law, and even arguing with his own main character, a woman named Emma Collette. It's a lot. This whole meta thing, it's basically the frame for the entire story. A story that the author himself claims is just packed with like 100 copyright infringements. Honestly, it feels less like a story and more like a performance, with the author front and center. Okay, so let's get to the actual plot. We're in this place called the Kingdom of Nankongkam, and our story follows two best friends, Nanam and Kokon, who get sent to the market by their wives. And you see the difference between these two guys right away. Kokon's wife is basically yelling at him, "You lazy man!" But Nanam's wife, she's all praise and sweetness. So right from the jump, you've got this subtle tension. Same mission, totally different vibes. So Kokon gets to the market, and he finds the absolute perfect turkey, the biggest, fattest one there. But the asking price is 12 cowries. He only has 10. And there it is, the thing that's about to cause all this chaos, just sitting there, slightly out of reach. But he's a pretty good bargainer. He actually manages to talk the seller down to 10 cowries, exactly what he has. Awesome. A deal is struck. And you're thinking, okay, cool, story's over, successful shopping trip. Right? Wrong. Because just then, his friend Nanam shows up. He strolls in and offers the original 12 cowries. And the seller, this guy Techie, doesn't even hesitate. He just hands the turkey over to Nanam. That deal he just made with Kokon? Poof, gone. All for 2 extra cowries. And this is where things go completely off the rails. What starts as an argument, then a fistfight between two friends over a turkey, somehow escalates into a full-blown ethnic war. Their entire communities get dragged into it. It's just a completely absurd and insane escalation over something so petty. Okay, so how does something like that even last? Well, the story then jumps way forward in time, and we get to see the devastating legacy of this one tiny argument. And trust me, by this point, it is not about the turkey anymore. Get this. 94 years later, Nanam and Kokon are both old men on their deathbeds. And the war? It's still going on. But the original reason why that turkey has been completely lost. It's just been twisted and distorted by decades of rumors.
So, Nanam, he dies before he can actually explain what happened. So what does the son do? He just makes something up. A new story. Kakon stole his dad's pot of gold. I mean, it sounds a lot better, right? It's a grander reason to justify a lifetime of hatred and war. And it's the same thing on the other side. Kokon's son completely misinterprets his father's last words and comes to a wild conclusion. Nanam must have slept with his mom. It's just another lie, another invented story to give some kind of meaning to all this senseless fighting. And this chart here, it's a perfect example of how the rumor mill works. You've got 4 different people, and they have 4 completely different and totally wrong versions of what started the war. The actual truth, the whole turkey thing, is just buried under all these layers of made-up stories. Okay, and this is where it gets really nuts. Remember those 2 layers, the fable about the war and the author's meta-commentary? Well, right here, they just smash into each other. The author's character, Emma, literally just walks onto the battlefield. The whole narrative just shatters. She walks right up to the great-grandsons, or whoever they are, of Nanam and Kokon, who are still fighting, and she asks them this one simple question that apparently no one has thought to ask for almost 100 years. And the answer is just peak absurdity. Neither of them knows. They're literally like, because they did, what did they do again? They have no idea why they're fighting. All they know is that their dads told them to hate the other side. Their entire reason for existence is based on something they don't even remember. So Emma just turns to the camera, so to speak, and asks the author directly. And he just gives her the simple, pathetic truth. All of it. All the death, all the destruction, the century of hatred, it was about a turkey.
So now she knows the truth. And Emma decides, okay, I'm ending this myself. And what's her weapon of choice to end a 94-year war? A Nokia E75. Yup. A ridiculously old cell phone. It's just the perfect, hilarious weapon to end this tragic comedy. And in one last, glorious copyright infringement, she uses that phone to call on a character from the anime Fairy Tail, and he ends the war in, well, a literal blaze of glory. The whole story just implodes on itself in this giant fireball of pop culture. So, after all that chaos, what's the point? What are we supposed to take away from this? Well, the author, even though he said at the beginning, go burn the sea if you want a moral, actually leaves us with a couple of pretty clear lessons. And here's the first big one. And it's really the core idea of the whole story. The war didn't last 94 years because of the Turkey incident itself. It lasted because of all the gossip, the rumors, and the straight-up lies that grew around it. That's what gave people a reason to keep on fighting. And the second lesson is just as powerful. It's this idea that something tiny and insignificant, a piece of trash, as the author calls it, like a turkey or a simple rumor, can become more dangerous than a bomb when it's in the hands of someone influential. Like in this case, the fathers who pass down their hate to their sons. For all its absurdity, this story is a really powerful reminder. It makes you think. We should probably question the conflicts we just sort of inherit. And it's so important to always try and find the real source of a story. Because you never know. Sometimes that huge, epic war you think you're fighting, it might just be about a turkey.